I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move into the consensus agenda.
So I move we approve the vouchers for the past month, and they total $609,144.68, plus payrolls 14 and 15, which total $352,913.15. Grand total expenditure for the month of $961,678.91. Along with that, I move we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Moved by Steve, second by Ken. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Patrons' comments. Any written patrons' comments this evening? Okay. Moving on to personnel.
All right, I'd like to recommend the following items. I recommend the approval of the resignation of Matt Arvison as junior high football coach and resignation of Amy Middall as high school cafeteria worker.
I move we approve those.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next two, I'd like to approve the resignation of Courtney King as elementary instructional assistant and Brittany Brosman as 5th grade teacher.
I move we approve those.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next two items, I'd like to approve the recommendation of Stacy Sheets as elementary counselor and Lisa Hammond as a 6th grade teacher and junior high volleyball coach.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I apologize, I did skip one. Recommend Leah Webb as elementary instructional assistant.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next three are substitute teacher recommendations. So I recommend, and they actually attended our substitute teacher training. So I recommend the approval of Kimberly Sharp, Aubrey Davis, and Amy Fisher as substitute teachers for Triton School Corporation this year.
Move we accept those substitute teachers. Second.
Moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Next couple, I recommend the approval of Joanna Asagera as a high school cafeteria worker, Sharon Kindig as 5th grade teacher, Eric Callahan as high school classroom supervisor, and that is for the chemistry class that we discussed.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Recommend the approval of Terry Scott as a part-time temporary bus mechanic. There were some issues with the hours when it came to Joe, so we're just trying to fill in the gaps there. We do have some people interested in working towards hiring a full-time replacement mechanic, but there's just some doctor's things that we need to take care of as far as just making sure a physical can be passed and all of that stuff with a new doctor. So I recommend that Terry be a part-time temporary bus mechanic. We'll stick with that one.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next three deal with junior high football, so I recommend the approval of Brian Overmeyer as junior high head coach, Tom Warsham as a volunteer coach, and Joe Wood as a junior high football assistant coach. Also, we'll go ahead and put in there Taryn Meister as the high school volunteer volleyball coach.
I move we approve those coaches. Second.
Moved by Wes, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next recommendation, I'd like to recommend Brandy Hall as an elementary instructional assistant.
Move we approve that.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the approval of Alan Whitaker as high school substitute chemistry teacher. As we've discussed a little bit with this chemistry position, Alan is going to be coming back, and Nate may want to give more detail on this, but he is going to be running the labs for the class that's going to be proctored by Eric, as we just recommended a little bit ago. So Alan Whitaker obviously taught at Triton for quite some time and was excited to come back and work with the kids and perform those labs. So that'll be good hands-on experience in that class that we wouldn't otherwise have.
I even had him, so I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion?
Just a question on, is this coming back like for the day? Supposed to be like, be
I
subbing
think,
in days or half days or?
yeah, I think it's going to be, well, I guess I don't know days-wise, but we're thinking it's going to be approximately 12 labs, 10 to 12 labs.
It kind of depends on the syllabus that we get from the instructor from Indiana Online Academy and how things line up with the labs that he wants to do. So it could range, but we don't have an exact number.
We were trying to find information out to say, what does your syllabus look like? And if we took class time out of those kids' day for the labs, even though we think that would be a great experience, is that going to put them behind and not be able to fulfill the obligation?
Yeah, we also don't want to take too many work days away from them, so they don't have time to get their work done either. So
Still trying to
we're
navigate
trying to
that.
find the sweet spot there. And
Well, I think my understanding is like chemistry's first period and seventh period.
exactly.
So is Alan gonna be here all day? Is he gonna be come in the morning, come back? Are we gonna pay him for a whole day? What, I mean, those kinds of things. Have we thought?
We've been working through that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think he's wanted to, in some ways, just volunteer his time, but I feel like he should be compensated for his time coming in and doing that, so.
Me and Nate talked with, we're thinking sub pay, where it's
Yeah,
not a lot, but it's at least something.
something.
You know, whether that's a half a day or a whole day, I mean, $50 to $100 every time, so.
Okay, that answers my question.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
As we continue to want to be more competitive when it comes to our pay, obviously we had a $2 increase for our instructional assistants. We've done that for our bus drivers and non-certified staff, looking forward to negotiation for our teachers, but also make sure our substitute teachers and getting quality people as they come in. I would like to recommend that we increase the substitute teacher pay rates. $110 for those that have teacher's licenses, $100 for those with 60 credit hours, and $90 for those with a high school diploma, which is an increase of approximately $15 per category.
I move we approve those substitute rates. Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any other discussion? Motion all in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Last but not least, I'd like to recommend the approval of status quo teacher contracts. Obviously, as you're aware, negotiations will start formal negotiations can start after September 15th. We will have informal negotiations on August 30th, with our formal negotiations on September 15th with a date to follow, just to ratify and make sure we're sticking with the timelines. All of that has been shared with Triton Teachers Association, but we always start with a status quo contract until those contracts are signed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion?
Now,
Oh, yeah.
I'll need to recuse myself from
Yeah.
Mrs. Stickers somehow.
All in favor? Motion passes with Steve's condition. On to business.
All right, I'd like to make a recommendation to adopt the teacher appreciation grant. If you recall, each year we have to adopt the ability to give the teachers the teacher appreciation grant when that comes out, which is usually, I want to say right before Black Friday, right in November. but we do have to adopt that. All the money that we receive through the teacher appreciation grant, if you recall, does go straight to our teachers. So it's just divided accordingly, but we do have to approve the ability to continue to do that.
Move we approve the teacher appreciation grant.
I second that.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I recommend the permission to advertise the Capital Projects Fund and bus replacement on our website. There's a paper here that's in front of you that kind of gives a rundown of that. We're simply advertising the fact is that we would like to purchase 2 buses. And then you can notice the highlighted portions there with the backboards and the RV maintenance, some of which may have to be eliminated, but in the end, the ability to advertise those.
I move we approve the advertisement of those 2 things.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion?
I have a question. Last line item, 49000 emergency. 250,000 this year, 25,000 last year. Is there a decimal point missing?
No.
What happened?
That is correct. Every year we advertise for a larger amount just to ensure the tax rate is advertised high enough to get our full maximum, and then when the state comes to reduce it, that is the first area we go to. So that'll be an automatic
Okay.
$225,000 reduction. You can see the total amount that we're gonna advertise is a lot more than was approved last year, so, but it's
You
just.
know, I was looking for the differences, and that one gave me an emergency. Okay. That's all.
Okay. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
All right, I would like to recommend that we approve the revised 2022-23 school year calendar. I feel like it owes just a little bit of explanation, as we had already adopted a calendar. We do have some adjustments to this calendar, which I'll talk about in just a second. The reason we are adjusting this is because at the end of July, we received the 1003 flexibility waiver from the State Department of Education. We were one of, I want to say, close to 80, I don't know, 50 to 60, 70, 80, I don't know, schools that got approved for that. It is a 1-year flexibility waiver. If you recall, I believe this is our 3rd, 4th, 5th year in a row that we have received that. We thought, I had originally advertised that at another board meeting and in a discussion meeting, that we thought we could get approved for that for 3 years. And for some reason, they gave that as a choice, and/or that was in our application, but they didn't approve anybody for 3 years. It was simply for 1 year. So we'll simply continue to apply for that. But as we look at the calendar, please note that on the 22nd of September, on November 17th, and on February 16th, which are all Thursdays, to try to stay somewhat consistent of that, we are going to have a delayed start. One of the objectives of our strategic plan was to create times for more timely professional development. So we will actually do a delayed start on those days, as if we're having a 2-hour delay, but from 7:45 to 9:45, we will have professional development surrounding safety, curriculum, vertical articulation, and those type of items. It is difficult. Today we have Professional Development Day, but you can imagine teachers' minds are thinking of kids are coming on Wednesday. Our other professional development that's set aside is the day after Christmas or New Year's break, right? So good times, days set aside for that, but in the end, to think of, it doesn't mean that we're done with professional development or things that we need to talk to our staff about, but yet we don't have that time until January, right? So we front-loaded that with 2 of those, one in September, one in November, and then put the other one in February, knowing that March and April get crazy with assessments and a lot of different things. Please also note October 10th. October 10th originally, if you recall, because we didn't feel as it was in anybody's best interest to go the day after Memorial Day, we had made October 10th Parent-Teacher Conference Day, but then also a Digital Learning Day, right? We were going to double that up. And we have decided with the flexibility piece of that the Digital Learning Day was done strictly because of the the day after Memorial Day piece of that, and we really didn't feel like teachers were going to be able to fully focus on the parents that are going to be with them in parent-teacher conferences, knowing that probably more important than it's ever been when we connect with parents this year, because we haven't been able to the last couple of years, is we need to be fully engaged. There is conversation, Nate, on exactly what that's going to look like in the high school, as far as whether there's going to be an opportunity for whether that's parent-teacher conferences or parent communication, but then also professional development will continue to take place. If you also recall, that's the night of our board meeting. So a lot was happening on October 10th, and we just felt like the Digital Learning Day was just something that probably, because the waiver did not need to be added. Also, please note, graduation date, instead of pushing that back to the later date, as we've done the last couple of years, of just because of making sure that kids have the credits and everything ready, knowing that COVID the last couple of years has been crazy with how many days do we need to add on to the end of the year. We did bump that up to what we would consider was the original graduation date. So that is June 4th. So there's not a 2-week span in between the last day of school and kids graduating. We have found the last couple of years that's it's left us a little bit exposed with some of our kids and what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks when they're not held accountable to us and so on. So we just felt like that was a better spot. So those are the main changes on that. It looks very similar to the way it did before, just some minor adjustments. Obviously, the graduation date is the biggie as far as open houses and those type of things, wanting to make sure we get that out as soon as possible.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I see those 3 days, it's like February. What would happen if that ends up being a snow day? We have to.
The delay day becomes a snow day?
Becomes a full day. Will we readjust?
Yeah, we definitely have the flexibility to place that on a different day. We have the flexibility right now with our school year being based on minutes instead of days. We technically have a large number of days that we could utilize in a more flexible way. So yes, we could be more flexible in that. We could also assess and say, you know what, I think we're good. There's not something that we need to really address. But yes, we could definitely place that somewhere else. We would just want to communicate that to our patrons, right? So I think if they see these and they can plan accordingly, it's nice to have those planned ahead of time. Also our bus drivers, thinking of the bus drivers that work, just saying, hey, on this date, I'm going to come to work, I'm going to leave to drive bus, and I'm going to come back. It just allows them to plan accordingly.
So I move we approve those changes to the calendar.
Second, I'll go ahead, Wes.
Wes? Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? More discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to superintendent's report.
All right, continuous improvement. Today, as many of you guys know, is opening day for our teachers. It's been a long day. So as I look at Nate's eyes and Christine's eyes, as much as they're trying to be young and spry and awake, it has been a long day. A lot packed into this day. I think it was a positive day, a positive start. But it's always overwhelming to just try to get everything in, right? And just make sure you cover everything, but yet don't overload people. So safety was a major focus of both buildings, where we are adding a countywide school guard app, which I think is going to be beneficial. Every corporation in Marshall County received a grant to pay for the upfront or the starter cost of the school guard app. Ward buyers played an integral role in that from the Department of Community Corrections in Marshall County. Paid that upfront fee, which I think is approximately $3,000 per corporation. We will pick up that year 2 with a monthly fee, but we are able to maximize our response time for our law enforcement to our school corporation. Just an outstanding app. This will minimize response time and provide our teachers with the power to make decisions in order to keep our scholars safe. Also, we introduced Steve Watkins today to our staff when we took tours of the unfamiliar areas and began to connect with teachers. There are plans in the works that will continue to improve safety for our school and community. This is just a tremendous blessing, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. I was able to share about the need of positive encounters with our staff today, and just looking to make our interactions with our students, with one another, our colleagues, and with our parents, positive encounters, and how positive encounters can uplift our spirits and want us to be our best. So just encouraging them to do that. Educators, students, and community continue to heal after a difficult 2 years, and it'll take all of us investing in one another to make this the most positive year in the last couple. Shared leadership, the buildings are ready to welcome over 960 scholars on Wednesday as of this minute. Knowing there could be more enrollments and or withdrawals, we're at approximately 960 students. So that's up about 30 students, 35 students. So obviously we don't have count day until September 15th, so none of that is 100%, but trending in the right direction. So that's really, really good. That's a positive start. The maintenance crew has done a great job. Teachers are preparing their classrooms. Tonight's elementary open house will set the stage for a great first impression for our students, parents, and teachers. Social responsibility, thank you to the local government. Once again, this deals with the app, but the Bourbon Town Council for partnering with Triton School Corporation for the school resource officer. Ward Byers was an integral part of that, of the town actually paying for part of that resource officer to have somebody here full-time. I think it really relieved our teachers, and I think it's going to be a blessing to our students. Also, Ward Byers was integral in the Marshall County Community Corrections for helping all the Marshall County schools pay for the upfront cost of the School Guard app, as I mentioned. I also want to thank the county government. This morning at 9 a.m., the Marshall County Council passed a resolution to support the Marshall County Career Innovation Center and the READY grant proposal. If you guys recall, over the last about a year now, year and a half, we worked really, really hard to find an executive director for Marshall County LLN. Allie Shook has done a wonderful job. As soon as she got on board, she started really working hard on this READY grant, and the county council proposed to give $1.5 million towards the Marshall County Career Innovation Center, which the form of that has yet to be totally decided, but in the end it's going to continue to allow Marshall County to have a central location for a lot of our career and technical education classes. So it's a really, really positive step in the right direction. As anybody knows that deals with county and or federal grants, we now have to get matches for that money. I think the total amount for that Career Innovation Center is like $7.5 million. So 1.5 seems great, but then where are we going to find that other $6 million is now the next order of business. High expectations, football, volleyball, band, tennis scholars continue to put in time and effort in to prepare for their fall seasons. Thank you to our coaches and scholars for their time and effort over the last couple of months. Couple very warm weeks. So hopefully the humidity is supposed to cut down a little bit next week, which will be nice for a lot of those that have been outside. Teachers have been busily preparing the new curriculum, meeting to receive training in math, language arts, best practices in preparation to do their best for the students who will enter their sphere of influence on Wednesday. Alignment, I did share a little bit about our strategic plan today, and once again just trying to rally the troops of being part of that solution, talking about some of the things that we've already done, hiring a new elementary counselor, hiring an athletic director, a lot of those things that we've had conversations with over the last couple of years and really felt this year that we can move forward with that. Some of those things are in place, some of those things are going to continue to take staff being part of that solution, and we just welcomed that today to be very open, transparent, closed lines of communication, and just have them be part of that solution. Evidence-based decision-making. Part of the strategic planning process was we made it very clear the need for more timely professional development, as we talked about in our calendar discussion today. That is why we brought the calendar back to the board to approve the delayed start opportunities to allow for professional development in the areas of safety, curriculum collaboration, vertical articulation, and instructional processes. Items to note include the circled dates, as I've already mentioned, the June 4th graduation, is a change. And talking a little bit about October is not going to be a digital learning day, but a parent-teacher conference day and a professional development day for the high school. After receiving the flexibility waiver, obviously our calendar is based on, as I've already said, hours instead of days. So that is why you will see there's 179 days there, 182 days on that calendar. So if there's any questions about that, I'll be glad to take those.
All right, any written patrons' comments? No? None in the room. We'll move on to building reports. Who would like to go first? I'm pretty sure Ryan has a microphone for you.
All right, I'll go first with the junior, senior high school. Is that all right? All right, so just some updates for the junior, senior high school. So looking at summer school, we had 31 students get a total of 49 credits. So some of those students ended up getting more than one credit this summer and are taking more than one course. So great job for those students. This year we have, between our junior class and our senior class, we have 30 students that are enrolled in the CTE program where they're going to go off site and they're actually going to go to one of our CTE programs. Among our seniors, we have 31 of those students that are going to be a part of an internship. So some are doing CTE, a large number are doing an internship. So there's going to be times of the day when we have very few seniors in the walls of the high school. So which is a goal to get them out and get them experience. And I think we're seeing that happen. We also have 5 students that are planning to attend our new alternative school that's going to be stationed in Argus. So we're excited just to see that program get up and running and hopefully benefit some of our students. We had registration July 26th and 27th, and I just want to thank our office staff and our counselors and the volunteers that came in just to make that happen and get students enrolled for the year. We also had our 7th grade orientation on Thursday, August 4th. Again, just thanking those that were able to come in and put that program together. I think it was a very beneficial night, not just as principal, but I was also dad for that night as my son's going into 7th grade. So I think it was a successful night. Looking at today, we had our staff day to kick off the year. In the morning, we had some breakout sessions at the junior, senior high school. We had Andy Bass run one of those breakout sessions, and the topic is, what does good instruction look like? And he and the teachers just were able to share things that they think are successful in the classroom and that work for our kids, and again, make that classroom just a good learning environment. So I got good feedback from that. We also had a breakout session on safety and doing an update on our safety. As Mr. Riffle talked about, we had the School Guard, our Hero 911 app, presented to our staff. We also were able to introduce Steve Watkins as our SRO, and then Mr. Yarbrough went through some updates in our handbook as well, or our safety plan. I had the 3rd breakout session, and a lot of that was just classroom expectations. So what is it that I want to see teachers doing when I come into the classroom, or when Mr. Yarbrough goes into the classroom? Just being really transparent about, again, what I want to see so that they know those expectations ahead of time. We also had a staff meeting in the afternoon just to go over just some of the housekeeping items, and then teachers were able to work in their classroom for a portion of the afternoon as well. As of right now, today, we have 431 students enrolled at the junior, senior high school, and that's partly due to we have a small senior class that left, a large 7th grade that's coming in, and we have seen a number of out-of-district students enrolling, or just new students, period, enrolling. So looking forward to the school year. So any questions? Okay, thank you.
Have much to add, since Mr. Riffle mentioned about all the meetings that we've been having and the trainings last week. He mentioned pretty much everything that we did except for probably our pre on their own time, all the new staff who've been coming in, putting in time. We're going to be welcoming 530 students on Wednesday, give or take a few, because their enrollments, like we said, are still not perfect, but we've had a really good response from parents at registration, and then also tonight at our open house. It was great to see smiles and kids and all those tissue boxes coming in and so forth. And so I feel like it did really feel kind of back to normal. Excited for the new staff members that I feel like we've been hiring a little bit all summer somewhere along the line, and I think we have a full staff ready to meet all those students, and I'm excited for what the new staff members are going to bring. It's always, you miss the history that the others have, given to the school, and will be leaving with that experience that they've left, that they took with them. But it's also good to see new perspectives and other people being able to impact our kids. I think that's it.
We will move to adjourn at 7:31.